The reason most people aren't accomplishing what they want in their life is because they're trying to fix the problems and not move toward the possibilities and toward what their heart truly desires that expands them. Thank you so much for joining me. I think we have all been in the place that we set an intention for ourselves and didn't fulfill it. That we have a goal that we set for ourselves and maybe we're kind of falling back on the actions. It's out there, but we're slipping, we're feeling frustrated. And I want to assure you right now, I want to be your cheerleader that you can accomplish anything that you set your mind to. The reason so many of us aren't accomplishing what we set out to is because we're trying to fix something. We find out what's broken, what needs to be done, what needs to be constricted or pulled back in order to jump ahead, how hard we have to work to be able to succeed. That has been the lesson that we've learned. The harder you work, the more you achieve. And of course, you know in meditation, exactly the opposite is true. The more easy, the more effortless you are, the greater the results of meditation. And what if we took that same principle and we translated into our lives for what we want to accomplish and what we desire? Allowing ourselves to expand into our desires instead of contract and constrict and put rules and restrictions on ourselves. So right now, whatever it is that you have desired to move towards, perhaps you're already moving toward that goal, perhaps you're setting it, or perhaps you slipped a little bit and you want to reconnect to that goal. Sit for just a moment and think, what can I do to expand myself and move toward that goal with more love, more acceptance, and more joy? What about the part of me is so beautiful that it's going to draw me toward that desire and it's going to help support me in getting there? Rather than looking at the parts of myself that have prohibited me from getting there in the past. So as an example, in my life, I want to get back to a regular practice on my yoga mat. I've fallen off from my regular daily practice and it's really important, but I am absolutely dragging my feet on it. And I really just wanted to get on my mat, even if it was just 15 minutes a day. And so I did it for about 5 days and I felt amazing and I was spending about 30 minutes and I felt great. Of course, the benefit of being on my yoga mat made my food and my diet a little bit cleaner. I had more energy, my sleep was better. And then all of a sudden, a few days went by, usually it's the weekend, and I didn't get back on my mat. And so then I had to restart the process. And so then I had to carve in the time and say, I'm going to do it every day before meditation at 4 o'clock. I'm going to get on my yoga mat. But instead of making myself get on for a full practice, which I could guide myself through, I said just 15 minutes of play any time of day. So now I'm on my yoga mat for 15 minutes and I don't even care what I do. Sometimes it's a sun salutation. Sometimes if I just sit in a child's pose, I'm doing exactly what my body needs. And so I'm really listening and receiving and expanding instead of saying that I have to do this routine, that I've done Ashtanga for years, that I'm going to put myself through a slow practice, a hard practice, a smooth practice, whatever that is. I got up on my yoga mat, I stood there and I swung my arms and moved my spine. Sometimes I'll play like a child or pretend like I'm a fairy. Sometimes I'll just do cat-cows. Sometimes I'll sit on the mat and meditate. And I'm on the mat and it feels amazing. And one day I got on the mat for 5 minutes and I wanted to get up and I was a little squirmy. And I stayed for 10 minutes. But I still got up early before the 15. I was really proud of myself. I didn't beat myself up for not being on the mat that whole 15 minutes. I was creating a habit. And at about 66 days, that habit, instead of coming from the head, starts to come from the heart. It starts pulling you toward the practice. So I invite you now to ask yourself some of the deeper questions about what can I do to expand my heart and allow myself to move toward my desires in a fun, playful, joyful way that feels like a privilege and an honor to move toward, instead of like something's being taken away from me, or it's painful, or I have to sacrifice or compromise. Ask yourself, who in my family is going to play with me and support me? And how can I look forward to the things that I want in my life, serving them in their lives? How can it also expand their lives? Because just by the practice of yoga on the mat or my meditation practice, not only am I changing and transforming the cells in my body, but I'm changing the world. And certainly the people around me, they know that they love me more when I'm in practice, when I'm in yoga, and when I'm in meditation. I'm a much easier, more grounded, loving person. I really just show up into the world in a different way. So what about the fact, have you restricted in the past that you can let go of some of the restrictions and you can move into more expansion? If it requires a habit, what is the least amount you can do and still feel successful? And if you do more, that's great. But every day, applauding yourself, feeling great about yourself. Because when we set an intention for ourselves, or we set a goal or a requirement for the day, and we don't fulfill that, we can't fulfill our personal commitments to ourselves. So we doubt ourselves, we beat ourselves up even more. That critical voice starts, it creates more fear and more constriction. And so if I can't fulfill my own commitments to myself, how can I show up in the world and fulfill all my commitments to others? So maybe I don't show up as authentically or as excited or as much as I want to in the world because I'm too afraid that I will fail someone else or I won't be there for them. Here are a few more questions that you can ask yourself. Who can I share this with right now that is going to celebrate me and support me unconditionally? And knowing if I don't do exactly what I set my mind to, they encourage me and applaud me for everything that I've done up until this point and say, you can do it, you can keep going. Be easy on yourself. Look at how far you've come. You know, what are those markers that you're going to check in with to say, I did an amazing job? Is there some tracking? Will you be journaling? If there's a setback, having an awareness. Why? What about this is sharing something with me? Maybe the intention isn't strong enough or important enough. So if you'd set an intention for yourself that you keep breaking or you aren't fulfilling, maybe you need to just let it go and find a different goal or a different intention that draws you to it. Remember that you can accomplish anything that you desire, anything that comes from your true soul. There is nothing too big. There is nothing too small worth pursuing. Pursue it with all your heart, with all your love, with all the celebration and gifts of who you are, and know that it is exactly taking you where you are meant to be in this moment and this time on your journey. Here's to you and your goals, and to your success and applause, and seeing the true light and true love that shines within you every step of the way. I will see you right back here for the next video. Please subscribe so you get notifications of any videos that are upcoming. If you like this video, please like and share your journey. Share your journey with others. It's so empowering and so exciting. You don't have to walk this journey alone. There are people doing the exact same thing with the same questions, with the same successes and the same perhaps setbacks that you are feeling. So we can support one another. Share your comments below, and I will see you in the next video.